Princeton researchers discovered something that changes everything about workplace success. Your brain makes trust judgments about others in 1/10 of a second. Before you speak, before you share your credentials, before you demonstrate your skills. LinkedIn's neuroscience studies confirm this happens even faster in digital interactions. A single profile image triggers instant authority assessments. Here's what the data reveals. Generation Z workers, now 1/3 of the workforce, show 14% lower self-belief than their experienced colleagues. This confidence gap costs them opportunities daily. The uncomfortable truth is that competence without confidence becomes invisible in meetings, while confidence without competence still commands attention. This isn't about being better than everyone else. It's about understanding that your presence communicates before your voice does. The world doesn't wait to discover your brilliance. It reads the signals you send in those first critical moments. The neuroscience of digital first impressions. Your brain decides who leads the meeting in the first 7 seconds of a video call. Not after you speak. Not after you present your credentials. 7 seconds. LinkedIn reports that social media users form first impressions in under a second based on body language cues, and this phenomenon accelerates in virtual environments. The moment your camera turns on, neural pathways fire in every other participant's brain, categorizing you as either someone worth listening to or someone to mentally tune out. There's no appeal process for this instant verdict. Remote work didn't just change where we work. It fundamentally rewired how power gets assigned in professional settings. When you strip away most normal social cues that humans relied on for thousands of years, the remaining signals become exponentially more important. Your colleagues can't see your expensive suit or notice how you carry yourself across a room. They can't pick up on the subtle energy shifts that happen when you enter a physical space. All they have is a small rectangle on their screen, and within that rectangle, every pixel matters. Watch what happens in your next virtual meeting. Notice how camera angles create instant hierarchies before anyone speaks. The person positioned slightly above eye level appears to look down on everyone else. The person with poor lighting becomes a shadowy figure that others unconsciously dismiss. The participant whose camera cuts off the top of their head signals that they don't understand how to present themselves professionally. These aren't minor details. They're digital power moves that determine who gets heard and who gets ignored. Studies show that in digital calls, eye contact with the lens and controlled pacing boost perceived confidence. Most people make the fatal mistake of looking at the other participants on screen, which makes them appear submissive and unfocused to everyone else. But when you look directly into that small black dot above your screen, you create the illusion of making direct eye contact with every single person simultaneously. This triggers an ancient response that says this person is confident enough to look me in the eye. Voice tonality carries even more weight in digital environments because it's one of the few remaining status signals that translates clearly through computer speakers. When you speak with certainty, using controlled pacing and strategic pauses, you make other people feel more confident about you. Their brains start responding to your vocal patterns, creating a subconscious resonance that makes them want to agree with whatever you're saying. This creates a feedback loop that most people never recognize. Your projected confidence doesn't just influence how others see you in that moment. It rewires their ongoing perception of your competence. Participants who displayed confident digital body language were rated as more intelligent, more strategic, and more leadership-ready, even when their actual contributions to meetings were identical to less confident participants. The confident posture and vocal delivery convinced others that the content itself was superior. Take Marcus, a software engineer who transformed his career simply by mastering virtual presence. Same technical skills, same work quality, but he learned to position his camera at eye level and practiced speaking with deliberate pacing. Within 6 months, he went from being overlooked in team meetings to being asked to lead cross-functional initiatives. His manager later admitted that Marcus started carrying himself like senior leadership material during video calls. The technical competence was always there. The confident digital presentation made it visible. Here's what nobody wants to acknowledge. Your virtual setup communicates your status before you utter a single word. Opt for a neutral backdrop, and even lighting as general best practices. The person with the clean, well-organized workspace signals success and attention to detail. The participant with the chaotic background suggests disorganization and lack of professionalism. These judgments happen instantaneously and influence every subsequent interaction. Digital-first workplaces have made confidence more quantifiable than ever before. Your participation rate in virtual meetings gets tracked. Your vocal energy during recorded calls gets analyzed. The frequency with which you speak up during video conferences becomes part of your performance data. Managers can now replay meetings and count exactly how many times you contributed versus how many times you stayed silent. Confidence has become a metric, and the measurements are precise. Sarah, a marketing director, discovered this reality when her manager showed her participation analytics from their team's weekly video calls. The data revealed that she spoke 60% less than her male colleagues, despite having more experience and better ideas. She thought her careful listening and thoughtful responses demonstrated wisdom. Her manager saw someone who lacked executive presence. Once Sarah understood that virtual meetings required more assertive participation, she started speaking up earlier and more frequently. Her next performance review noted significant improvement in leadership potential. Your virtual presence has become your primary professional identity. Colleagues who've never met you in person form complete impressions of your capabilities, based entirely on how you show up digitally. The confident energy you project through your camera becomes the foundation for every opportunity, every project assignment, every promotion consideration. There's no separation between your digital persona and your professional reputation anymore. The people who understand this reality are already miles ahead. They've learned optimal positioning angles, practiced confident vocal delivery, and curated backgrounds that reinforce their professional brand. They treat every video call like a performance because they recognize that it is one. While others focus solely on the content of their contributions, these individuals master both the message and the medium. Remote work hasn't just changed the workplace. It's created an entirely new language of professional communication, and confidence is the vocabulary that determines who gets promoted and who gets overlooked. But here's where it gets more disturbing. The data being collected on your digital presence isn't just informal observation anymore. Companies are now measuring and scoring these confidence markers in ways that directly impact your career trajectory. The 43% promotion gap that nobody talks about. The data reveals a promotion gap that most employees never see coming. Recent workplace studies show that employees who project confidence receive significantly more promotions than their colleagues with superior technical skills but hesitant demeanor. This isn't some minor statistical anomaly. This is the fundamental reality of how modern workplaces actually operate. Consider Marcus, a software engineer who transformed his career trajectory simply by mastering his digital presence. Same technical skills, same work quality, but he learned to position his camera at eye level and practiced speaking with deliberate pacing during virtual meetings. Within 6 months, he went from being overlooked in team discussions to being asked to lead cross-functional initiatives. His manager later admitted that Marcus started carrying himself like senior leadership material during video calls. The technical competence was always there. The confident digital presentation made it visible. This scenario plays out thousands of times across corporate America because performance reviews now include executive presence as a measurable metric in 67% of Fortune 500 companies. Executive presence isn't about your work quality or technical expertise. It's about how you carry yourself in meetings, how you communicate ideas, and whether you project authority when you speak. Companies have decided that sounding like a leader matters more than performing like one. Picture 2 employees starting at the same company on the same day. Jennifer has an MBA from Stanford, 5 years of relevant experience, and consistently delivers exceptional work. She thinks carefully before speaking in meetings, double-checks her analysis, and prefers to let her results speak for themselves. David graduated from a state school, has average technical skills, and produces solid but unremarkable work. But David speaks with unwavering certainty. He presents his ideas like they're obviously correct. He volunteers for high-visibility projects without hesitation. He acts like promotion is inevitable. Fast forward 18 months. David gets promoted to team lead. Jennifer stays in her original role, wondering why her superior performance didn't translate to advancement. Her manager explains that David demonstrates stronger leadership potential and executive presence. Jennifer's technical excellence is acknowledged, but dismissed as insufficient for management responsibilities. The skills gap between them has actually widened in Jennifer's favor, but the confidence gap has determined their career trajectories. The measurement of confidence has become increasingly sophisticated. Manpower Group's Global Talent Barometer 2025 documents how companies track meeting participation as a leadership indicator. Employees who speak up early and often get flagged as high potential candidates. Those who listen carefully before contributing get labeled as followers rather than leaders. The system can't measure the quality of your thinking, but it can count how many times you contributed to discussions. Companies are using sentiment analysis to evaluate who sounds like leadership material in recorded meetings. This technology analyzes tone of voice, word choice, and emotional expression to assess perceived confidence and leadership qualities. The software doesn't know if you're right. It only knows if you sound right. An employee who says maybe we should consider this approach gets a lower leadership score than someone who declares this is definitely the right strategy, even if the hesitant employee's suggestion proves more effective. Watch how this plays out in real workplace scenarios. During quarterly planning meetings, Sarah presents thoroughly researched market analysis with careful qualifications about potential risks. Her presentation includes phrases like "we might want to consider" and "the data suggests." Meanwhile, Brian presents his projections with absolute certainty. Using phrases like "this will definitely increase revenue," and "we need to move fast on this opportunity." Sarah's analysis is more accurate, but Brian's communication style gets interpreted as strategic thinking. His confidence makes others assume he sees something they don't. Remote work has amplified these confidence measurement capabilities because every interaction gets recorded and analyzed. Your participation in virtual meetings becomes quantifiable data. The frequency with which you speak up, the confidence level of your vocal delivery, and your willingness to challenge others' ideas all become metrics that influence promotion decisions. Previously, much of this communication happened in hallway conversations or informal interactions that couldn't be measured. Now everything is documented and scored. Consider how this affects daily workplace dynamics. During virtual brainstorming sessions, the employee who immediately responds with enthusiasm gets higher participation scores than the one who takes time to formulate thoughtful responses. In recorded client calls, the team member who speaks with unwavering confidence about project timelines gets credited with strong client management skills, even if their estimates prove unrealistic. The colleague who provides more cautious but accurate projections appears less decisive and gets lower leadership ratings. The promotion game has fundamentally changed, and most people remain unaware of the new rules. Traditional advice about letting your work speak for itself becomes counterproductive when organizations measure confidence more precisely than competence. The employees who recognize this shift are already adapting their communication styles to optimize for both human and technological evaluation systems. They understand that career advancement now requires mastering the performance of certainty, not just the substance of expertise. Lisa, a financial analyst, discovered this reality when her manager shared her performance metrics. Despite producing the most accurate forecasts on her team, her confidence scores ranked lowest because she qualified her predictions with appropriate uncertainty ranges. After learning how the system evaluated her communication, she started presenting her analysis with more definitive language while maintaining the same analytical rigor. Her leadership potential ratings improved dramatically within 2 quarters. The gap between confident and hesitant employees will only widen as these measurement systems become more sophisticated. Companies are investing heavily in tools that can identify leadership potential through communication patterns rather than waiting for traditional performance indicators. The employees who master confident communication early in their careers will accumulate exponential advantages over those who remain focused solely on technical skill development. The most successful professionals now treat every recorded interaction as a confidence performance that will be analyzed and scored. They've learned to project certainty even when discussing complex topics with inherent uncertainty. They understand that appearing decisive matters more than being perfectly accurate. This isn't about abandoning competence. It's about recognizing that competence without confident presentation has become professionally invisible. But the workplace isn't the only arena where this confidence performance matters. Your professional reputation now extends far beyond office walls and video calls. Social media's confidence arms race. LinkedIn data reveals that in the digital world, 97% of adults judge trustworthiness in seconds, and this instant assessment has transformed professional networking into a continuous performance where your personal brand determines career trajectory more than actual work performance. Every post you publish, every comment you make, every photo you share becomes part of a permanent professional record that potential employers, clients, and collaborators evaluate before they ever meet you. Your online presence isn't just a hobby anymore. It's your most important career tool. And the people who understand this reality are already light years ahead of those who treat social media as casual entertainment. LinkedIn's algorithm specifically rewards confident language patterns, and this algorithmic preference translates directly into real career advancement opportunities. The platform systems analyze your posts for certainty markers, leadership language, and assertive communication styles. When you write, "I believe this strategy will work," the algorithm gives you lower visibility than someone who writes, "This strategy will transform your business." The difference isn't subtle. LinkedIn data show confident language posts get 3x more visibility, which means 3x more exposure to recruiters, hiring managers, and potential business partners. The professionals who crack this code understand that LinkedIn isn't a place for humble observations or cautious commentary. They post with unwavering certainty about industry trends, share bold predictions about market directions, and position themselves as thought leaders rather than thoughtful followers. Their posts don't include phrases like, "I think," or "maybe we should consider." Instead, they declare, "Here's what's happening, and this is the future." The algorithm rewards this confidence with increased reach, and increased reach creates career opportunities. HR departments now scan social media profiles for leadership indicators before making hiring decisions, and they're specifically looking for confidence signals rather than competence proof. A candidate's Twitter feed gets analyzed for assertive communication patterns. Their LinkedIn activity gets evaluated for thought leadership potential. Their Instagram presence gets assessed for personal brand consistency. Companies want employees who will represent their brand confidently in public forums, and they use social media behavior as a proxy for predicting how candidates will perform in client meetings, conference presentations, and industry networking events. Research shows that individuals with confident social media presence receive 34% more interview callbacks than those with modest online profiles. This isn't about having more followers or posting more frequently. It's about the communication style, the certainty of your opinions, and the authority you project through your digital interactions. Two candidates with identical qualifications will have dramatically different callback rates based solely on how confidently they present themselves online. Rachel, a marketing professional, discovered this reality when she compared her career progress to her former colleague James. Both had similar experience levels and educational backgrounds, but James consistently posted bold industry predictions on LinkedIn, while Rachel shared thoughtful articles with careful commentary. James received multiple headhunter contacts and speaking opportunities, while Rachel remained invisible to industry leaders despite producing superior work. Once Rachel shifted to posting definitive statements about marketing trends and sharing her success stories with confident language, her professional visibility increased dramatically within 6 months. The most successful professionals curate their online presence to project unwavering self-assurance through every piece of content they publish. They don't share articles with neutral commentary. They share articles with strong opinions about why the information matters and what others should do about it. They don't post about attending conferences. They post about the insights they gained and how those insights will change their industry. Their social media presence becomes a continuous demonstration of expertise, delivered with absolute certainty. This confident posting style creates networking opportunities that humble approaches consistently miss. When you post with authority about industry topics, other professionals reach out to collaborate, invite you to speak at events, and recommend you for high-visibility projects. When you post with humility and careful qualifications, your content gets ignored because it doesn't signal that you're someone worth knowing. The attention economy rewards bold statements that make people stop scrolling and take notice. Consider how different communication styles perform in social media environments. A modest post saying, "Interesting article about remote work trends, thoughts?" generates minimal engagement. A confident post declaring, "Remote work isn't the future, it's the present, and companies still trying to force office returns will lose their best talent," generates significant engagement, shares, and connection requests. The confident version positions you as someone with valuable insights worth following and potentially hiring. The attention economy fundamentally rewards bold statements over nuanced expertise, because social media platforms prioritize content that generates engagement over content that demonstrates deep thinking. A carefully researched post with multiple perspectives and thoughtful analysis gets buried by the algorithm. A provocative post with a strong opinion gets amplified because it triggers comments, shares, and reactions. This isn't fair, but it's reality, and the professionals who adapt to this reality gain massive advantages over those who refuse to play the game. Your digital footprint has become a confidence resume that employers actively evaluate alongside your traditional resume and interview performance. Hiring managers review your social media presence to assess whether you communicate like leadership material, whether you position yourself as an industry expert, and whether you demonstrate the kind of professional presence they want representing their company. Your online confidence level often matters more than your technical qualifications, because companies can teach skills but struggle to instill executive presence. Social media confidence has evolved from a nice-to-have personal branding element into a professional skill requirement that directly impacts career advancement. Companies expect their employees to represent the organization professionally online, and they evaluate candidates based on their digital communication capabilities. The employees who master confident online communication gain access to opportunities, partnerships, and recognition that remain invisible to those who maintain humble online profiles. The professionals winning in this landscape treat every social media interaction as a strategic career move. They understand that confident digital communication has become as important as confident in-person presentation. But this online confidence performance is just one piece of a larger psychological puzzle that determines who gets ahead and who gets left behind. The psychology of assumed authority. Humans assign authority within 7 seconds of meeting someone, and the decision has nothing to do with credentials, experience, or actual competence. Your brain makes this judgment based purely on confidence signals. The way someone stands, the steadiness of their voice, how they make eye contact, whether they seem comfortable taking up space. Within 7 seconds, people decide whether you're worth listening to or someone they can safely ignore. This happens before you've had a chance to demonstrate your expertise, share your background, or prove your value. The authority gets assigned first, and everything else becomes supporting evidence for that initial judgment. Watch what happens in your next team meeting. Notice how people respond differently to various voices around the table. The person who speaks with certainty gets immediate attention, even when their ideas are mediocre. Others nod along, lean forward, ask follow-up questions. Meanwhile, the colleague who presents brilliant insights but hedges their language with qualifiers gets polite acknowledgement and swift dismissal. Same room, same topics, but the confident voice commands respect while the hesitant voice gets overlooked. People aren't consciously choosing to favor confidence over competence. Their brains are running ancient software that equates certainty with leadership capability. Digital environments have made this psychological shortcut even more pronounced because fast-paced virtual interactions eliminate the time for deeper evaluation. During video calls, participants make authority assignments within the first few seconds based on camera positioning, vocal tonality, and immediate presence. There's no opportunity for the gradual relationship building that might reveal actual competence over time. The person who projects confidence in those critical opening moments controls the entire interaction. Everyone else becomes a supporting character in their meeting. This creates a fascinating phenomenon where people defer to confident voices, even when those voices clearly lack relevant expertise. The marketing manager who speaks with absolute certainty about technical architecture decisions gets more consideration than the software engineer who presents the same information with appropriate technical caution. The consultant who declares definitive market predictions receives more client attention than the analyst who provides nuanced data with proper uncertainty ranges. Authority flows toward confidence regardless of knowledge depth or accuracy track record. Confident individuals trigger the halo effect, where one positive trait makes others assume multiple positive traits exist. When someone projects unwavering self-assurance, observers unconsciously assume they must also be intelligent, competent, experienced, and successful. The confidence becomes evidence for capabilities that haven't been demonstrated. This psychological shortcut helps explain why certain people get promoted quickly despite average performance, while others with superior skills remain overlooked. The confident presentation creates an assumption of competence that influences every subsequent interaction. Research from organizational psychology reveals that confident individuals get their ideas implemented more often than hesitant colleagues, even when the ideas themselves are comparable in quality. The difference isn't in the substance of their proposals. It's in the delivery style, the certainty of their presentation, and the authority they project while advocating for their position. Decision makers find it easier to approve initiatives when the proposer sounds absolutely convinced of success. Hesitation raises doubt, while confidence suggests the person has already considered all variables and reached a definitive conclusion. Watch how this authority assignment becomes self-reinforcing through repeated social validation. When confident people get their ideas approved more frequently, they gain actual authority through successful implementation. The initial assumed authority based on presentation style transforms into real authority based on results. Meanwhile, hesitant individuals see fewer of their ideas get implemented, which reduces their actual influence and reinforces the perception that they lack leadership capability. The gap between confident and hesitant employees widens over time through this feedback mechanism. The uncomfortable truth about workplace dynamics is that competence without confidence consistently gets labeled as not ready for leadership. Technical experts who perform exceptional work but present their insights modestly find themselves passed over for management roles. Their supervisors interpret careful language and qualified statements as evidence of uncertainty or lack of executive presence. The same analytical thinking that makes them excellent at their technical roles becomes a liability when evaluated for leadership potential. Companies want leaders who communicate with conviction, not analysts who acknowledge complexity. Consider Marcus, the software engineer who transformed his career trajectory by mastering digital presence. His technical skills remained constant, but he learned to position his camera at eye level and practiced speaking with deliberate pacing during virtual meetings. Within 6 months, he went from being overlooked in team discussions to being asked to lead cross-functional initiatives. His manager later admitted that Marcus started carrying himself like senior leadership material during video calls. The technical competence was always there. The confident digital presentation made it visible and accessible to decision makers. Authority operates as a social construction that confident people actively shape through their daily interactions. They don't wait for others to recognize their expertise. They present themselves as authorities from the beginning and invite others to accept that positioning. When they speak, they use language that assumes their opinions matter. When they enter rooms, they carry themselves like they belong in important conversations. When they contribute to discussions, they frame their ideas as valuable insights rather than tentative suggestions. This consistent, confident positioning gradually becomes accepted reality. Modern work environments accelerate this authority assignment process through constant digital interactions where confidence signals get amplified. Every email, every video call, every chat message becomes an opportunity to project authority or demonstrate hesitation. The colleagues who write with definitive language, speak with controlled energy during virtual meetings, and position themselves confidently on camera accumulate authority faster than those who communicate more modestly. The digital medium strips away many nuanced social cues, making confidence projection even more important for establishing professional influence. The authority assignment process reveals something profound about human psychology. People desperately want someone to follow, someone who appears to know the right direction. In uncertain business environments, confident voices provide psychological safety, even when that confidence isn't backed by superior knowledge. Teams gravitate toward the colleague who speaks with certainty because certainty feels safer than ambiguity, even when the certain person is frequently wrong. Understanding this authority psychology gives you the blueprint for claiming your rightful place in professional hierarchies. You don't need to wait for credentials to accumulate or for others to recognize your potential. Authority gets assigned based on how you present yourself right now, in this moment, during this interaction. The people who master confident presentation gain access to opportunities, resources, and influence that remain invisible to equally capable colleagues who wait for permission. But recognizing these psychological patterns the Machiavellian mindset for modern about times. The strategic use of confidence in professional advancement as a learnable skill that develops through deliberate practice rather than waiting for internal feelings to align with external circumstances. The most successful professionals understand that confidence builds through repeated action, not passive reflection. Every time you speak up in meetings with authority, present ideas without hedging language, or position yourself as someone worth listening to, you strengthen neural pathways that reinforce both self-belief and actual competence. This creates a feedback loop where confident behavior generates opportunities for skill development, which in turn validates the confidence that created those opportunities. Research from conservation of resources theory demonstrates how competence building accelerates when individuals act with confidence before they feel fully prepared. The theory shows that people who invest resources in confident behavior early in their careers accumulate greater actual capabilities over time compared to those who wait for competence to develop before displaying confidence. This happens because confident positioning creates access to challenging projects, mentorship opportunities, and high-visibility assignments that accelerate skill development. The confidence isn't fake preparation for future competence. It's the catalyst that makes advanced competence possible. Consider how this plays out in daily workplace interactions. When you volunteer for projects that stretch your current abilities, you're not being dishonest about your capabilities. You're demonstrating faith in your capacity to grow into the role. The confidence to raise your hand for challenging assignments creates learning opportunities that cautious colleagues never access. Within months, your actual skills expand to match the confidence you projected initially. The gap between confident positioning and competent performance closes through experience rather than preparation. This principle explains why certain professionals advance rapidly, while others with superior technical skills remain stagnant. The advancing professionals understand that confidence and competence develop together through active engagement rather than sequential progression. They don't wait to feel fully qualified before acting qualified. They act qualified and become qualified through the experiences that confident positioning makes available. Their career trajectory accelerates because they're constantly accessing stretch opportunities that build both skills and credibility simultaneously. Strategic confidence differs fundamentally from empty arrogance because it's grounded in genuine commitment to delivering results. When you project confidence, you're making a promise to yourself and others that you'll rise to meet the expectations that confidence creates. This accountability mechanism transforms confident positioning from performance into preparation. The external confidence creates internal pressure to develop the competence necessary to fulfill the confident presentation. You become the person you've been presenting yourself as through the demands that presentation creates. Watch how this unfolds in virtual meeting environments, where confident digital presence directly influences opportunity allocation. Professionals who speak with controlled authority during video calls consistently receive more project assignments, client interactions, and leadership responsibilities than equally capable colleagues who communicate hesitantly. The confident speakers aren't necessarily more qualified initially, but they become more qualified through the additional experience their confident communication generates. Their digital presence creates a self-fulfilling prophecy where projected competence becomes actual competence through expanded opportunity access. The feedback loop between confidence and competence accelerates in digital environments because every interaction gets recorded and analyzed. Your confident communication style during virtual meetings becomes documented evidence of leadership potential that influences future opportunity assignments. Managers can replay your contributions and observe how you handle pressure, present ideas, and interact with colleagues. The professionals who consistently demonstrate confident digital communication accumulate a portfolio of recorded evidence that supports their advancement into more challenging roles. This creates compound advantages for early adopters of strategic confidence. Each confident interaction generates opportunities for skill development, which creates more confident interactions, which generates additional opportunities. The gap between confident professionals and hesitant professionals widens exponentially over time because the confident group gains access to accelerated learning experiences that the hesitant group never encounters. The initial confidence investment pays dividends through expanded competence that validates and reinforces the original confident positioning. Understanding confidence as a skill rather than a personality trait transforms how you approach professional development. Instead of waiting for internal confidence to develop through gradual experience accumulation, you can actively practice confident behaviors that create the experiences necessary for competence building. This means speaking up earlier in meetings, volunteering for visible projects before you feel fully prepared, and presenting your ideas with conviction rather than tentative language. Each confident action strengthens both your self-belief and your actual capabilities through the opportunities that confident behavior generates. The most effective professionals treat confidence development as seriously as technical skill development. They practice confident communication patterns, refine their presentation style, and systematically work on projecting authority in professional interactions. This isn't about becoming someone different. It's about becoming the most capable version of yourself through deliberate practice of behaviors that create growth opportunities. The confidence becomes authentic because it's backed by the expanding competence that confident positioning makes possible. Strategic confidence serves as the foundation for all other professional skills because it determines which learning opportunities become available to you. Technical expertise matters, but confident professionals gain access to the challenging projects where technical expertise gets developed and demonstrated. Communication skills matter, but confident professionals get invited to the high-stakes conversations where communication skills get refined and recognized. Leadership potential matters, but confident professionals receive the team assignments where leadership potential gets tested and proven. Modern workplace dynamics reward professionals who understand that confidence and competence develop together through strategic action rather than separate preparation. The digital transformation of professional communication has made this principle even more critical because virtual interactions strip away many traditional relationship-building opportunities. Your confident digital presence becomes the primary mechanism for accessing the experiences that build both credibility and capability. The professionals who master this integration gain systematic advantages in environments where digital communication has become the foundation of professional interaction. Digital body language that commands respect. Your virtual presence has become the primary battleground where professional respect gets won or lost. With 73% of workplace communication happening digitally, your camera angle, eye contact, and vocal delivery now determine your career trajectory more than your actual work output. The professionals who recognize this reality have already transformed their careers by mastering techniques that most people never even notice exist. Camera positioning creates instant status hierarchies before you speak a single word. Position your camera at eye level or slightly above, and you automatically project authority over other participants. Keep your camera below eye level, and you appear to be looking up at everyone else, which signals submission. The person whose camera cuts off the top of their head looks unprofessional and disorganized. The individual with perfect framing appears competent and detail-oriented. These aren't minor technical details. They're digital power moves that determine who gets taken seriously. Eye contact through video calls requires completely different skills than in-person interactions. Most people make the fatal mistake of looking at faces on their screen instead of directly into the camera lens. This makes them appear distracted and unfocused to everyone else on the call. When you stare directly into that small black circle above your screen, you create the illusion of making intense eye contact with every participant simultaneously. This triggers an ancient neural response that translates to immediate respect and attention. Vocal tonality carries exponentially more weight in digital environments because it becomes your primary tool for projecting authority when visual cues get compressed through video algorithms. Speak too quietly, and you signal uncertainty and lack of presence. Speak too loudly, and you appear aggressive and out of control. The controlled volume with deliberate pacing makes others lean in to catch every word you're saying. Most people unknowingly signal weakness through their digital presence by slouching in their chairs, avoiding direct camera contact, and speaking with rising intonation that makes statements sound like questions. They fidget with objects off camera, creating distracting movement in their video feed. They position themselves too close to the camera, making their face appear distorted. They use harsh overhead lighting that creates unflattering shadows. Every one of these choices broadcasts low status to everyone else on the call. Strategic pause timing triggers immediate respect responses during virtual interactions. When someone asks you a question, resist the urge to answer immediately. Count to 3 silently. Maintain steady eye contact with the camera, then respond with controlled authority. This pause signals that you're thoughtful and deliberate rather than reactive and nervous. It creates tension that makes your eventual response carry more weight. The pause says your words are worth waiting for. Authoritative vocal patterns involve speaking in statements rather than questions, even when you're actually asking for information. Instead of saying, "Should we maybe consider this approach?" try this approach will solve the problem. Instead of, I think we might want to look at the data, say, the data shows exactly what we need to do. The difference isn't just semantic, it's psychological. Authoritative language patterns make others assume you have insider knowledge that justifies your confidence. Research reveals that confident digital body language significantly influences decision-making outcomes in virtual meetings. Participants who project confidence through their camera presence get their ideas approved more often than those who display uncertain body language, even when the ideas themselves are comparable in quality. The confident presenter's digital presence creates credibility that makes their content appear more valuable and well-reasoned. Small adjustments in virtual presence create massive perception shifts that can transform your professional trajectory. Michael, a project manager, was consistently overlooked for leadership roles until he invested in proper lighting and learned to position his camera correctly. Within 3 months of mastering confident digital body language, he was promoted to director level. His work quality remained identical, but his virtual presence finally matched his capabilities. Projecting confidence authentically requires aligning your digital presence with your actual expertise, rather than creating a false persona. Authentic confidence involves owning your knowledge and presenting it with certainty rather than apologizing for taking up space or time. You're not pretending to know things you don't understand. You're presenting what you do know with the authority it deserves. Digital confidence operates as a technical skill that you can develop through deliberate practice. Record yourself during practice video calls to identify unconscious habits that undermine your presence. Notice if you look away from the camera when thinking, if your posture slouches as the meeting progresses, or if your vocal energy drops when discussing complex topics. These patterns become automatic with repetition, which means you can systematically replace weak habits with powerful ones. Advanced techniques like strategic silence separate leaders from followers in virtual environments. When controversial topics arise, resist the urge to immediately defend your position or fill uncomfortable silence with nervous chatter. Let the tension exist while you maintain calm composure and steady camera contact. This controlled energy signals that you're comfortable with conflict and capable of handling pressure. The professionals who master these digital body language techniques gain systematic advantages in remote-first workplaces because they understand that virtual presence has become the primary way colleagues and managers evaluate leadership potential. They've learned that commanding respect through screens requires different skills than commanding respect in person, and they've invested the time to develop those skills systematically. But here's what most people miss about confident digital presence. It doesn't just change how others see you. It fundamentally rewires how you see yourself through a psychological mechanism that transforms initial performance into genuine capability. The confidence feedback loop effect. This psychological mechanism operates through what researchers call the confidence feedback loop, where acting confident creates actual competence over time through repeated practice and experience. This isn't about fake it until you make it. This is about understanding that confidence and competence grow together in an interconnected system where each reinforces the other. When you act confident, you don't just change how others see you. You change how you see yourself, and more importantly, you change what you're willing to attempt. The brain doesn't distinguish between confidence you feel and confidence you perform. It responds to the behavior itself. Neuroscience research reveals how confident behavior literally rewires your brain to support that confidence with actual capability through neuroplasticity. Every time you act confidently, speak up in meetings, volunteer for challenging projects, or present your ideas with authority, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with those behaviors. Your brain interprets confident actions as evidence that you must be capable of handling whatever situation prompted those actions. The repetition creates permanent changes in brain structure that make confident behavior feel more natural and automatic over time. This creates a solution to the chicken and egg problem that paralyzes so many people. You think you need confidence to get opportunities, but you need opportunities to build confidence. The breakthrough comes when you realize that you can tap into courage before you start having that feeling of assuredness. Courage is what you tap into initially, and confidence is what builds over time through accumulated experience. You don't wait for confidence to arrive before taking action. You take action despite uncertainty, and confidence develops as a result of that willingness to try. Research shows that people who project confidence receive significantly more challenging assignments than their hesitant colleagues, and these challenging assignments accelerate their professional growth exponentially. Managers assign complex projects to employees who seem capable of handling pressure and uncertainty. When you present yourself confidently, you signal readiness for increased responsibility. These stretch assignments force you to develop new skills rapidly, creating competence that validates your initial confident presentation. The person who waited to feel fully prepared never gets the assignment that would have built their capabilities. Confident people receive significantly more mentorship, coaching, and development opportunities because their confidence signals a willingness to learn and grow that makes them attractive candidates for investment. Senior leaders want to mentor individuals who seem likely to succeed and reflect well on their guidance. When you project confidence, experienced professionals see potential worth developing. They share insights, provide introductions, and create opportunities that would never be offered to someone who appears uncertain or hesitant about their career direction. Watch how initial confidence performance becomes authentic competence through repeated practice in real workplace scenarios. Jennifer started her marketing career feeling uncertain about her abilities, but learned to present her campaign ideas with unwavering certainty. Each successful presentation built her actual expertise in client communication, strategic thinking, and creative problem-solving. Within 2 years, her performed confidence had become genuine competence as she accumulated wins that proved her capabilities. The confidence that began as theater evolved into authentic authority backed by demonstrated results. The self-fulfilling prophecy aspect of this feedback loop pushes you to rise to meet others' elevated expectations when you project confidence consistently. When colleagues and managers see you as capable and confident, they expect higher performance from you. These elevated expectations create psychological pressure to deliver results that match your projected image. You find yourself working harder, thinking more strategically, and pushing beyond previous limitations because others are counting on the competence your confidence suggested you possessed. Their belief in your abilities becomes your belief in your abilities. Understanding that confidence and competence operate as interconnected systems, rather than separate qualities, changes everything about how you approach professional development. You don't build competence in isolation and then add confidence later. You don't wait for competence to justify confidence. Instead, you recognize that each reinforces the other in a continuous cycle of growth and development. Confident behavior creates opportunities to build competence. Demonstrated competence reinforces confident behavior. The more you try, the more you learn, and the less you doubt yourself. This feedback loop accelerates dramatically in digital environments where confident people get exponentially more visibility through virtual meetings, social media presence, and online professional interactions. Stand up straight, look at the camera, speak clearly to project confidence during virtual interactions. Use open posture to signal confidence in all your digital communications. Your confident digital behavior gets recorded, shared, and amplified across platforms and networks. Each confident video call, assertive LinkedIn post, or authoritative email contribution builds your reputation and creates new opportunities for practice and recognition. Marcus demonstrated this acceleration when he started posting confident industry insights on LinkedIn despite feeling uncertain about his expertise. His bold predictions and definitive statements generated significant engagement, leading to speaking opportunities, consulting projects, and job offers. Each opportunity required him to deepen his knowledge and refine his thinking, transforming his initial confidence performance into genuine thought leadership. The digital visibility created by his confident posting style generated the experiences that built his actual expertise in the field. The compound effect of this feedback loop means that small confident actions taken consistently over time create exponential improvements in both perceived and actual capabilities. Each confident choice builds momentum for the next one. Each successful outcome validates your confidence and makes the next confident action feel more natural. What starts as uncomfortable performance gradually becomes authentic presence backed by accumulated competence and proven results. Strategic confidence represents an investment in your future competence rather than a substitute for it. When you act confidently today, you're not pretending to have capabilities you lack. You're creating the conditions that will develop those capabilities through experience and practice. The confidence gives you access to the opportunities that build competence. The developing competence justifies and reinforces the confidence. This creates a self-sustaining cycle where confident behavior consistently generates the experiences that transform performance into authentic capability. But there's another layer to this digital confidence game that most professionals remain completely unaware of. Your confident communication patterns are now being tracked, analyzed, and scored by systems that operate beyond human observation. Status signals in the algorithm age. Companies deploy AI systems that evaluate thousands of employees simultaneously, ranking promotion potential based on digital communication styles rather than traditional performance metrics. Every email you send gets passed for confidence markers. Every video call gets analyzed for vocal authority patterns. Every chat message gets scored for leadership language indicators. Your confidence level has become quantifiable data that determines your professional future. These algorithms evaluate confidence markers across every digital interaction throughout your workday. The system analyzes your email response times, measuring whether you reply immediately, like someone seeking approval, or strategically delay responses, like someone whose time has value. It examines your word choices, flagging tentative language like, "I think maybe we should consider," as low confidence while rewarding definitive statements like, "This strategy will solve the problem." The algorithm tracks your meeting participation rates, measuring how often you speak up versus how often you stay silent, how quickly you respond to questions, and whether your vocal energy rises or falls during presentations. These automated systems make career-determining decisions based on confidence signals, while most employees remain completely unaware they're being evaluated this way. Your manager might not consciously realize that the promotion recommendation came from an AI system that flagged your communication patterns as high potential indicators. The algorithm identified that you speak with controlled pacing during video calls, use assertive language in written communications, and participate actively in virtual meetings. Meanwhile, your equally capable colleague gets overlooked because their careful communication style triggered low confidence alerts in the same system. Specific language patterns get recognized by AI systems as high potential indicators based on communication research from successful executives. The algorithm rewards action-oriented verbs like implement, drive, and execute, while penalizing hesitation words like maybe, possibly, and might. It flags employees who write, "I will deliver this project by Friday," differently than those who write, "I hope to finish this project around Friday if everything goes well." The system measures sentence structure, preferring declarative statements over questions, active voice over passive construction, and specific commitments over vague intentions. Your digital writing style gets continuously analyzed for confidence markers that correlate with leadership success patterns. The AI examines email subject lines, looking for authoritative phrasing that suggests ownership and control. It evaluates how you handle disagreements in written communication, rewarding direct pushback over diplomatic hedging. When you write, "The data clearly shows we need to change direction," the algorithm scores this higher than, "The data seems to suggest we might want to consider adjusting our approach." These scoring differences accumulate across thousands of communications to create your overall confidence profile. Workplace analytics reveal that confident communication styles receive significantly better algorithmic amplification on professional platforms, creating exponential career advantages for those who understand these systems. LinkedIn's algorithm promotes posts that use certain confidence indicators, giving them wider reach to potential employers and collaborators. Your confident content gets seen by more decision makers, generates more engagement, and builds your professional visibility faster than modest content from equally qualified professionals. The algorithmic boost translates directly into career opportunities that bypass traditional application processes. Understanding algorithmic preferences for confident content creates concrete career advantages that most professionals never recognize exist. James discovered this when he analyzed his LinkedIn engagement patterns and noticed that his posts using definitive language received 5 times more views than his posts with careful qualifications. His confident prediction about industry trends got shared by senior executives, leading to consulting opportunities and job offers. His equally insightful but modestly worded analysis posts generated minimal response. The algorithm had decided which version of James deserved amplification. Companies now use sentiment analysis to evaluate recorded meetings, measuring confidence levels through vocal patterns and participation frequency. The system analyzes whether you interrupt others assertively or wait for perfect pauses that never come. It measures your vocal energy throughout conversations, flagging employees whose enthusiasm remains steady versus those whose energy drops when discussing challenging topics. These confidence measurements influence performance reviews, project assignments, and promotion decisions without explicit acknowledgement that algorithmic scoring determine the outcomes. Your digital confidence signature has become part of your permanent professional record that follows you across companies and throughout your career. The communication patterns you establish today create data profiles that AI systems will reference for years to come. When you consistently communicate with confidence across emails, meetings, and professional platforms, you build a digital reputation that precedes you into new opportunities. This confidence signature becomes more valuable than traditional credentials because it predicts how you'll perform in leadership situations. Gaming these systems ethically represents a necessary modern skill rather than manipulation or deception. You're not lying about your capabilities when you optimize your communication for algorithmic evaluation. You're learning to present your genuine expertise in formats that AI systems recognize as indicators of leadership potential. This involves understanding that confident communication serves both human psychology and machine learning algorithms that increasingly influence career advancement decisions. The professionals who master both channels gain compound advantages because their confident presentation resonates with human decision makers, while their optimized digital communication triggers positive algorithmic responses. Advanced strategies include systematic analysis of your current digital communication patterns to identify algorithmic weak points. Record yourself during video calls to measure vocal confidence indicators like controlled pacing and steady energy levels. Review your email communications for tentative language that undermines your perceived authority. Track your meeting participation rates to ensure you're contributing actively rather than listening passively. Strategic timing of your confident communications maximizes algorithmic amplification and human impact. Post confident content on professional platforms when engagement rates peak for your industry. Send important emails with confident language at times when recipients are most likely to respond positively. Schedule your most authoritative contributions during video meetings when key decision makers are paying closest attention. Your career advancement now depends on understanding that AI systems constantly measure your confidence levels through digital interactions, while human managers rely on those algorithmic insights to make personnel decisions. The professionals who recognize this reality and adapt their communication patterns accordingly will dominate career advancement, while equally capable colleagues remain invisible to both algorithmic detection and human recognition. But understanding these systems is just the beginning. The compound interest comes from building consistent patterns. Daily confident choices accumulate like compound interest, creating massive reputation and opportunity advantages that most people never recognize until it's too late. Every email you send with definitive language instead of tentative suggestions. Every meeting where you speak up early rather than waiting for the perfect moment. Every conversation where you present your ideas like they obviously matter. These moments seem insignificant individually, but they create a cumulative effect that transforms how others perceive your capabilities and potential. The person who consistently chooses confident communication over modest hesitation builds a professional reputation that opens doors automatically. Your consistent confident behavior builds a personal brand that precedes you into every interaction, creating expectations and assumptions that work in your favor before you even speak. When colleagues think about assigning challenging projects, your name comes up first because you've established a pattern of speaking and acting like someone who can handle pressure. When managers discuss promotion candidates, you're already in the conversation because your daily confidence choices have positioned you as leadership material. This isn't about one impressive presentation or a single moment of brilliance. It's about the accumulated weight of hundreds of small confident decisions that create an unshakable professional identity. Most people catastrophically underestimate the long-term impact of their daily confidence choices because they focus on immediate outcomes rather than reputation building. They think that being modest in today's meeting won't matter in the long run. They assume that one hesitant email response is just a small blip that no one will remember. They believe that waiting to speak until they're absolutely certain won't affect how others see their leadership potential. But every single interaction contributes to the ongoing story that others tell about who you are and what you're capable of achieving. Research reveals that people with consistent confidence patterns receive 3 times more unsolicited opportunities than their equally skilled but modest colleagues. These aren't opportunities they applied for or actively pursued. These are invitations, recommendations, and offers that come to them because their consistent confident behavior has made them memorable and trustworthy to decision makers. The confident communication style creates a perception of reliability and competence that makes others want to work with them and recommend them for high-visibility assignments. Confident people become the go-to choices for high-visibility projects and leadership roles because their consistent behavior suggests they can handle pressure and uncertainty without falling apart. When crises arise, managers instinctively think of employees who've demonstrated steady confidence under normal circumstances. When important clients need attention, the person who consistently communicates with authority gets the assignment. When new initiatives require leadership, the individual who's been projecting executive presence through daily interactions becomes the obvious candidate. This isn't favoritism. It's pattern recognition based on accumulated evidence of confident performance. Sarah exemplifies how years of confident behavior create network effects that accelerate success exponentially. She started her career in financial services by consistently speaking up in team meetings, even when her ideas weren't fully formed. She sent emails with definitive language rather than tentative suggestions. She volunteered for challenging assignments before feeling completely ready. Over 5 years, these daily confident choices built her reputation as someone who could be counted on to handle difficult situations. Senior partners began including her in strategic discussions. Clients specifically requested her involvement in their projects. Other departments tried to recruit her for leadership positions. Her consistent confidence had created a professional momentum that generated opportunities faster than her technical skills alone ever could have achieved. Maintaining authentic confidence during setbacks and failures requires understanding that confidence isn't about never being wrong or never facing challenges. It's about maintaining your fundamental belief in your ability to handle whatever situations arise. When projects don't go as planned, confident people acknowledge the issues without questioning their overall competence. When mistakes happen, they take responsibility without diminishing their self-worth. When setbacks occur, they adjust their strategies without abandoning their confident approach to professional interactions. This resilience prevents temporary failures from derailing the long-term confidence compound effect. Understanding that confidence operates as a long-term strategy rather than a short-term tactic changes everything about how you approach professional development. Short-term tactics focus on individual moments of performance. Long-term strategies focus on building sustainable patterns that create cumulative advantages over time. Confident behavior isn't something you turn on for important meetings and turn off during routine interactions. It's a consistent way of presenting yourself that shapes every relationship and influences every opportunity that comes your way. The concept of confidence as a professional asset that appreciates in value over time reveals why starting early matters so much for career acceleration. Like financial investments, confidence compounds at an increasing rate over time. The person who begins projecting confidence in their first job builds a foundation that supports exponential growth throughout their career. The individual who waits until they feel fully qualified before acting confidently misses years of compound growth that could have accelerated their advancement dramatically. Consider how confidence appreciation works in practice. In your first year, confident behavior helps you get noticed and included in important projects. In your third year, that established confident reputation helps you get promoted ahead of equally qualified peers. In your seventh year, your track record of confident leadership helps you land senior roles that come with significant responsibility and visibility. In your 10th year, your reputation for confident performance helps you transition into executive positions that seemed impossible when you started. Each stage builds on the previous one, creating exponential rather than linear growth. Starting your confidence practice today begins compound growth that will pay dividends for decades, because every confident choice you make contributes to the professional reputation that will determine your future opportunities. But as this confidence transforms into real influence and authority, you face a deeper question about how to wield that power responsibly. Beyond confidence, the integration protocol. The mastery of confident communication opens doors, but what you do once you walk through them determines whether you build something lasting or simply claim temporary victories. True power comes from integrating authentic confidence with genuine competence and ethical leadership principles that elevate everyone around you. The confidence we've been discussing becomes dangerous when it serves only your ego and advancement. But when you combine strategic confidence with real expertise and a commitment to others' success, you create something far more valuable than personal dominance. You create influence that transforms organizations and builds legacies that extend beyond your own career. Picture confident leaders who use their influence to elevate others rather than dominate them through fear or manipulation. These leaders walk into rooms with the same commanding presence we've described, but their energy lifts everyone else up instead of pushing them down. When they speak with authority, they're advocating for their team's ideas and fighting for resources that benefit everyone. When they project confidence during negotiations, they're securing better conditions for their colleagues, not just themselves. Their strategic confidence becomes a tool for collective advancement rather than individual glory. This evolution carries profound responsibility that most people never consider when they start developing confident leadership skills. Once you master the techniques of commanding respect and influencing decisions, you hold real power over others' careers and well-being. Every confident choice you make affects whether someone else gets promoted, receives recognition, or gains access to opportunities. The same psychological principles that make others treat you as high status can be used to ensure they also get treated with respect and given chances to succeed. The most successful leaders combine strategic effectiveness with authentic service to others by understanding that sustainable influence requires genuine relationships built on trust and mutual benefit. They use strategic thinking to navigate complex organizational politics, but their ultimate goal involves creating value for everyone involved rather than just claiming power for themselves. These leaders recognize that short-term manipulation might win individual battles, but building others up wins entire wars and creates lasting organizational transformation. Strategic confidence can be deployed to advocate for others and create positive change throughout entire organizations when you understand that your influence becomes more powerful when others succeed alongside you. Instead of using your confident presence to claim credit for team accomplishments, you use it to ensure your team members get recognition for their contributions. Instead of leveraging your authority to secure the best assignments for yourself, you fight to get your colleagues access to career-advancing opportunities. This approach builds loyalty and creates a network of allies who support your continued advancement. The evolution from personal confidence to confident leadership represents a fundamental shift in how you use your influence and authority within organizations. Personal confidence focuses on your own advancement, recognition, and success. Confident leadership focuses on creating conditions where everyone can advance, gain recognition, and achieve success. This transition requires understanding that your confident presence becomes exponentially more powerful when others associate it with their own growth and opportunity rather than with your dominance over them. This evolution transforms organizations by creating cultures where confidence becomes contagious rather than threatening. When team members see that confident behavior gets rewarded and that leadership uses influence to support others, they start developing their own confident communication styles. Instead of competing against each other for limited recognition, they start supporting each other's advancement because they understand that everyone benefits when the team succeeds. The confident leadership model spreads throughout the organization, creating sustainable cultural change. Understanding that confidence is ultimately about creating value rather than just claiming it changes everything about how you approach leadership development and influence building. Value creation involves identifying problems that need solving, developing solutions that benefit multiple stakeholders, and implementing changes that improve outcomes for everyone involved. When your confident leadership consistently delivers value, others seek out your guidance because they know your influence will be used constructively rather than destructively. The concept of confident humility represents the ultimate integration, where strength enables service rather than feeding ego and self-promotion. Confident humility means projecting authority and commanding respect while remaining genuinely interested in others' perspectives and committed to their success. You speak with certainty about your vision while staying open to feedback and course corrections. You claim leadership roles while using that leadership to develop others' capabilities. This balance prevents the arrogance that destroys relationships while maintaining the confidence that opens doors. Leaders who master confident humility become magnets for top talent, because ambitious people want to work for someone who will use their influence to advance everyone's careers. These leaders attract the best team members, create the strongest organizational cultures, and achieve the most sustainable success because their confident leadership style makes others feel empowered rather than diminished. Their influence grows exponentially because everyone around them becomes invested in their continued success. This integration also requires continuous self-reflection and genuine commitment to ethical principles that guide how you use your influence. Power without ethical constraints becomes corruption. Confidence without moral foundation becomes manipulation. The leaders who create lasting positive change combine strategic effectiveness with clear values that prevent them from using their influence in ways that harm others or compromise their integrity. This ethical framework makes their confident leadership trustworthy and sustainable over time. The journey toward authentic, influential leadership demands that you constantly evaluate whether your confident choices are serving the collective good or just your personal advancement. This isn't about becoming weak or apologetic. It's about becoming powerful enough to lift others up alongside you. It's about building influence that creates opportunities for everyone rather than hoarding power for yourself. It's about using strategic confidence to advocate for positive change rather than just personal gain. Mastering confidence is just the beginning of your journey toward authentic, influential leadership that transforms organizations and creates lasting positive impact. The techniques we've covered give you the foundation for commanding respect and influencing decisions. But the real work begins when you start using that influence to serve purposes larger than your own advancement. That's when confidence becomes leadership, influence becomes legacy, and your strategic choices start creating value that extends far beyond your individual career. The question now becomes whether you'll use these tools to build something meaningful, or let the opportunity pass while others claim the positions you could have filled. Your professional survival depends on making this choice today rather than tomorrow. Confidence in 2025 is not optional. It's the baseline requirement for professional survival and growth. Manpower Group's Global Talent Barometer revealed that while 89% of workers feel confident in their skills, only 65% feel secure in their jobs. The gap between capability and security demands that you project unwavering self-assurance to navigate workplace uncertainty. Every day you hesitate is lost opportunity. Start implementing these confidence strategies immediately because your career depends on it. The person you become through confident action will be unrecognizable from who you are now. Your future self is waiting for you to act like you already belong there.